Hi and welcome to video 2.5 in the Gatsby JS course. This video will be setting up a source control provider, in my case Github, to store the code. The reason this is video 2.5 is because if you are comfortable doing this yourself, please do so and jump to the next video. For this video you will need Git set up on your machine. If you have not used Git before, I have a link to basic setup guide in the description that should get you going. Before we set up, I want to mention Netlify. Eventually, we will be deploying our website live on Netlify, and as you can see here, Netlify can hook into GitHub, GitLab and Bitbucket, so it's important to use one of them providers. Links are in the description to each. Netlify hooks into these to set up continuous deployment pipelines. In layman's terms, it means that whenever we push our latest code up to our source control provider, it will grab our code and deploy our site for us. This will be covered in a future video. Again, for clarity, I'll be covering GitHub in this video. So, let's create the repository. Once we are in GitHub, we can navigate to the profile icon and we can select your repositories. Once here, we can hit New. Here I will give it a title of Portfolio Project. You should be able to give it whatever name you want as long as you don't already have a repository yourself name this. And I'm just going to leave the description blank for now. I'm going to make mine public, but feel free to make it private if you'd like. You can always change this at a later date, so there's no pressure. And I'm not going to initialize this project with any of these, as we want to push up what we already have. So with that done, I'll click Create Repository. Once the repo is created, we get some simple steps to push our existing repository just below the new ones. First, we need to initialize our project as a Git project. So if we go back to our code and we open a terminal up in the root directory, we can run git init to initialize this as a Git repository. So you can see here now with VS Code we've started to get all these green files and the U symbol, which means untracked, as we've not added that to our source control yet. So let's add these changes. So if we do git add dot, which simply adds everything we have in the root directory, you'll see this now changes to an A, which means it's added. Now we have that, I'm going to write the commit for it. So to do that, we'll write git commit -m, and here we can add a commit message. So for this, I'm simply going to write project setup, as that's what we have in here so far, and hit enter on that. So now it's telling us all the files we have added, and these have all gone back to white, which means they're at the latest version. Now we have all our files added to our initialized Git repository, we need to add the remote. So if we go back to our GitHub account, we can see here we have the instructions for adding a remote, and this is just so it knows where to push our code when we go to push that. So I'm going to copy that, go back to our terminal, and then I will paste that straight in. So we're going to git remote add origin, and this is to my GitHub account. Done. Git automatically creates us a master branch, as you can see here, but I'm going to switch the master over to be called main like it shows in the documentation. So let's go back to that and we'll do git branch main, and then we can push this code up to our source control. So if I copy that command, and this is saying push all the code we have up to GitHub. The first push may take a moment as we're pushing everything we have created so far, but there isn't too much in our project at this moment in time anyway. Once the push is complete and we navigate to the repo in GitHub and refresh, we should see all of our code. Now if you ever clone down this repository on another computer or in a new location on your computer, you will need to ensure that you rerun the npm install command. And that is because inside our git ignore file we are ignoring things such as node modules, and that's where all our packages are installed. And the reason we're doing that is because the dependencies we install, such as React, Gatsby and React DOM, get quite large, and we don't want to push all of these packages up into our source control, as we want them to be separated. Now that we have everything in Git, we are ready to power on. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video where we'll start setting up our styled components. Thanks.